There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's 2 o'clock. We need to get started. We'll call the meeting to order, and we'll have Mrs. Nancy Miller do the invocation for us.
Today, I'm going to read a passage from something that appealed to me. Some of you may have already heard it. And I apologize, I don't know the author. But it's called, I Dreamed I Had an Interview with God. So you'd like to interview me, God asked. If you have the time, I said. God smiled. My time is eternity. What questions do you have in mind for me? And I said, what surprises you most about humankind? God answered, that they get bored with childhood. They rush to grow up and then long to be children again. That they lose their health to make money and then lose their money to restore their health. That by thinking anxiously about the future, they forget the present, such that they live in neither the present nor the future. That they live as if they will never die, and die as if they had never lived. God's hand took mine, and we were silent for a while. And then I asked, as a parent, what are some of life's lessons you want your children to learn? God replied with a smile, to learn that they cannot make anyone love them. What they can do is let themselves be loved. To learn that it is not good to compare themselves to others. And to learn that a rich person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. To learn that it only takes a few seconds to open profound wounds in persons we love, and it takes many years to heal them. To learn to forgive by practicing forgiveness. To learn that there are persons who love them dearly but simply do not know how to express their feelings. To learn that two people can look at the same thing and see it differently. To learn that it is not always enough that they be forgiven by others, but they must forgive themselves. And to learn that I am here always.
Thank you, Nancy. Now we've got some guests before we get into the main program today, and I'm going to ask Carol to come up. Carol Thompson, we all know who she is, and we'll have a little fitness discussion. We might even do some fitness, who knows?
So yes, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come and talk about the importance of fitness. I do have to say that was a beautiful poem, and if we could do something to make God smile, that is the day. That is actually the best thing we could do that day. So what I'd like for you to do, if you are sitting here in person or sitting here watching, sit up nice and tall. Change that posture. So there you go. That is the easiest, but yet the hardest thing you can do. Now I want you to take your shoulders to your ears when you inhale and leave them there. Exhale. Don't lower them. Leave them up. Take them up. And now relax and lower them. So what brings our shoulders to our ears? Everything. The news, whether it's at Cedarfield or what we're watching on TV, it is the current state of affairs, but we still have to do things to make God smile. And when Nancy mentioned health, that was my God moment, so that's why I'm here. There's so many things on campus, but also off campus. So I would like to show, first, this is a fitness calendar at a glance. I created one, and this is the improved version. It's easier to read. It is color-coded. It has classes, but most importantly, the new feature is it has levels. What does that mean? It is a key that you can know to plug in, maybe after physical therapy, when you finish that and you're ready for classes. Maybe it's for your new neighbor. You want to introduce them to classes, come with me. But there's also a description on the back. So I encourage you to grab this. And if you're thinking, I didn't know there was a calendar, my next question is, where can I find it? Every week on Friday, it is put out for the following week. 4 different locations. The in-house mailroom. Perfect location. You're probably there often to check your box. The third places are in the hub, which is directly opposite of this. Outside the group exercise studio, there is a wooden credenza, a sideboard. It's there to take. 2 other places in the fitness room. That is where another location is, in the pool. So all 3 of those are beautiful places. If you haven't been there, please take time to do it. I'm thrilled to announce that for a couple weeks now, we've had the addition of a fitness instructor, Alice Carpenter. So she's stationed in the fitness room, and she loves helping residents. She loves giving orientations. So if you have stepped away from fitness for a little bit, or maybe you've forgotten some of those pieces of equipment, or maybe you've never been there, you've never had the time or the opportunity, please make an appointment with her or just buzz in. So that's a great place. Also, water. What is water good for? Water is good for everything. It opens both the fitness room and the pool 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it's quite a number of hours it's open. It's also open 7 days a week. If you walk in the water, you're doing a great thing for your health. If you use the dumbbells that are out there, or the noodles, that is a great thing for your health. You don't have to be an ex-collegiate swimmer. Literally walking in and walking through the water is a great thing. So then that brings me to my last point of walking. If you've gone outside any, you can see that Cedar Field is in bloom. And it is different last week than it is this week, than it'll be next week. So continue to walk around campus. Continue to move outside campus. Maybe you're not up for that 1 or 2 mile walk. Simply move from this place to that place, but take the outdoor route. We also are starting a resident-run walking club. So check your informer. There's some opportunities there on page, I believe it's, yes, on page 19 is the strength and endurance domain. One thing I'll call to your attention, May 25th is the 29th annual National Senior Health and Fitness Day. Great activities are going to be planned. If you can join us, feel free. There's also the walking group day and then a walking trip. So if you have any questions, look me up in the directory. I'm in the wellness building as well. My office is right outside the pool. I'm here to help you guys. So anything I can do to help you become more fit with better health, then I've made God smile. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. I would like to, at some point, still think about an area challenge on fitness. I don't care what it is. We could be walking, it could be sitting, it could be anything, and get everybody participating in your area to do a little area fitness challenge and see which one wins. But anyway, next up is Ms. Charlotte Bailey for a VACRA report.
Good afternoon. The April VACRA meeting was canceled due to the virus outbreak at Covenant Woods, where our speakers lived. And in the interest of caution, of course, we felt it unwise to proceed with our monthly meeting. We plan to reschedule that meeting to a later date when everybody is available. We are pleased to announce that Sylvia Fine and Jim Fahrenholt have been appointed as Cedar Field representatives to the State VACRA Board. Barbara Rose has accepted the appointment to the VACRA Legislative Committee. Martha Cole Glenn has been named Vice President for Membership on the State VACRA Board. We are well represented, and I wanted everybody to know that. We are well represented with these 4 outstanding members of our local VACRA community. Our membership now stands at 112. We continue to welcome new members and look forward to introducing VACRA to all of our new residents. Dolly Hentz is our membership chairperson. So if you have not yet had the opportunity to talk with Dolly and look at all the information she has available for you, including a membership form, we would encourage you to do that. Right, Dolly? We sent a letter to Kevin Salmonen, who is the CFO at Pinnacle Living, inviting him to our May 20th meeting to discuss financial issues facing Cedarfield. We await his response to our invitation, and we sincerely hope that he can join us. We'll keep you posted on that. Our state spring membership meeting will take place via Zoom here in the Fellowship Hall on April the 29th. The meeting starts at 10 o'clock, so we want you to come about 9:45, so everything will be all set up and ready to roll. Please do come meet your state president via Zoom and the other officers, as well as other members from different communities around the state. If you have questions about VACRA, please ask us, Sally, Barbara, Dolly, Martha Cole, or me. We'd love to talk with you, and we welcome you to VACRA. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. We need to approve the minutes. Everybody should have had them from the last meeting. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. I've got some opening remarks about a couple of things. The fence. This is kind of funny. I told you all I was going to help get the fence started, and it was going to be my project. So last Sunday, I went out and bought 10 boards, nailed them up, and every time I nailed up one of the other loose boards, another board would come loose. So I nailed up all kinds of boards, and it was like I did the 2-inch nails, I did a whole box, and I went out to dinner with my daughter, and as I was eating spaghetti, my hand went like this and cramped up completely. And I realized that Carol was talking about water like this. I should have been doing water before I was out there doing all that hammering in the hot sun. So if you get a chance, go look. It's starting to look better. I got some more to do, but we'll try to make that fence look a little better than it has been. Second thing on my list is parking is still a problem out front. We have a lot of people still parking permanently out front. The front area is not really set up for permanent parking. I think if you have some medical reason, maybe we can discuss it, but in general, the parking needs to be open because we're having more guests coming in for lunch. Pretty soon we'll be having guests coming in for dinner. We have guests coming during the day, and they need a place to park. People in the cottage need to have a place to park when they come to dinner. So all of those things are one of the reasons why we don't have permanent parking in the front of the building. Third thing is a reminder that the clubhouse is now available for parties. The CNA classes have ended, and you can schedule, and they're starting to be scheduled, quite frankly, through Will Stern. And Will's number is 804-474-8726. So you can start booking parties or events down there. On Friday at 2 o'clock, everybody's going to be interested in this. If you didn't see it, our executive director and James Green are going to do a budget presentation that we'll all be interested in, I'm sure. And that will be at 2 o'clock here on Friday. So you should attend, or It's going to be live streamed, I believe, also. So you can do it several ways. The final thing, this one on my list to begin with, but I just got a letter from, you've received it in your box about, from Chris Henderson about COVID and what's happening. And they've pretty much gone back to mask 100% at the Northern Virginia location. They're recommending mask here and social distancing, but they're not changing the requirement as of yet. But the first paragraph is a little confusing, and Mr. Meyer pointed it out to me today. It says, if you have been exposed to COVID, you're asked to be quarantined, and I didn't think that was new news to me. Come on, you want to come up here?
Social distance, right? If you have been exposed or have any question or a symptom, you should see Ann in the clinic. She'll give you further direction about what you should do. You should definitely wear a mask on your way to the clinic and around others. But see Ann, and she'll be able to give you further guidance about it.
Okay.
If it's on the weekend, what do you do?
If it's on the weekend and you're not sure, you can see a health provider, like a First Health or something like that, or you can play it safe and just sort of keep to yourself and wear a mask and not go out. I think part of life with COVID is for all of us to display some social responsibility about how we go about if we feel like we could be infecting others unknown. Does that answer your question? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to the committee reports, and we've got some serious committee reports. There's some folks that took some serious notes on the committees, and a lot of stuff going on. So we'll start with communication.
Hi, I'm trying to make this more brief or briefer, whichever. We met in April 4th. Well, we met the second Monday of this month, as we always do, and heard a report from the signage committee, and they had another meeting coming up that week, so they evidently were not pleased with the signs that they saw. And so it's still in process, is the bottom line. The members of the committee who saw the signs, which we can see right here, as Paul told us last month, recommended that the letters be bolder and the type and the signs larger. We weren't real pleased. We asked for clarification of the terms My Cedarfield and Touchtown, and found that they're pretty much interchangeable. Touchtown is the IT vehicle that allows the My Cedarfield app to operate. So you can use the words interchangeably. The white stands, I just know of about 3 around the campus that house the My Cedarfield app. And there's one on the C wing, on the 3rd floor C wing, and there's a couple of others around. And I've been wondering ever since I lived here why they were there, because you have to have a password to get in. Well, I don't carry my password with me. But anyhow, they're obsolete and they're going to go away. Fred Dack explained some of the mechanics of doing My Cedarfield, which, as you can guess, is pretty involved, and he does it pretty much alone. So if you've got any ideas for him, let him know. He's very open to ideas. And that's about... Oh, we discussed the difficulties of live streaming. We are hearing all sorts of reports of the bad quality, both audio and video. And we were told that the problem is the equipment, and those problems, administration is aware of those problems, but they will not be cleared up until we get new equipment. They're equipment problems, so people can't cure that one. That's about what we did in this month's meeting.
Thanks, Ro. I'm hoping that the equipment problems will get solved when we renovate this beautiful building, this beautiful hall here. Maybe we can have the equipment problem solved at the same time. Dining services, Mr. Robbie?
So we met on April 20th. As usual, at our meeting, there was a lot of discussion on staffing and recruitment, since dining is one of the places with their large number of employees. The kitchen turnover has been high. About 4 people have left in the last week in the kitchen staff. But it's going back to pre-COVID normal. And in this business, turnover is normally very high. So it's back to that situation, but they cannot get new job applications. So that's very low, which is why the challenge in terms of opening up Prima, getting in guests. So they're still working with it and expect that by summer it'll improve. As you all know, the cafe opened on April 23rd, and 3 meals are being served 7 days a week. The offerings will probably remain at about the same level because of limitations of equipment. The table agent, the online reservation system, is working very well, and about 30% of the people are now using it. And I use it, and it's just great. There's been some issues with equipment, computers and iPads, people having some problems, and that is being resolved. Mother's Day only, dining would really like to do something special for residents and guests, and are working on something for dinner and lunch for Mother's Day. There'll be more information on this. Food prices have increased greatly, which I know is no surprise to you. The quantities and wastage were discussed. And the prices are going up, and the availability is going down. So they even had to add a new vendor for items that are not available or having trouble getting. David always says that it used to be that you ordered something and you got back. You got everything you ordered. Now maybe it's 60% or 70%. The takeout numbers have been the same as last month, the average of 115. The number of people being served is increasing, and the daily reservation system removal is helping, and so is the salad bar. These things are helping. In fact, a couple of weeks back, just before our meeting, that 175 people were served for dinner, and that's a post-COVID record. So on balance, things are going well, things are opening up, and we hope they continue.
Robert, I thought the reservations were still in beta because there's not been any campus-wide announcement of the reservation?
The online reservation?
Yes.
Yes, it's on the dining channels. It's on the dining channels. Supposedly, dining was told not to put announcements on the main channel, 971 or whatever it is. And they have been asked only to use the dining channels. So it is there. And it's past data. It's on. It's fully on.
Excuse me.
Yes.
When you just said that they're not supposed to use anything but the dining channel, if people are not going in there to look specifically at the dining channel, then they miss things like special events and stuff like that. So I think we need to take care of some other duplication stuff that's on touchdown slides and be able to have dining utilize that if it's something that's everybody needs to know.
Well, this is on touchdown. Yes, there was a discussion about that. That certain things that are important should be on the touchdown slides or the main slides channel. And we can push that again. They were asked, dining was asked to keep off the main channel. So I agree with you. I agree with you. I think some of the important announcements should be on the main channel.
Or at least, if they're going to do that, they should let people know that they're going to do that. Or send us something in writing. Because looking at the dining menu, there is no, oh, here we go. You say they're offering it, there's no phone number, and there's no website. So
Okay.
if we're gonna do that, that's pretty.
I'll check that. They said it was on there. I looked at it and it was on. So I don't know if it's.
I just went through the dining menu.
I know. I looked at it and it was there a few days back.
Yes, it says dining service.
Jump in anytime.
He's getting away from me. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not meaning to take anything over here, but there's one slide on the dining channel 973 that says Table Agent. Dining Services is happy to introduce an online reservation system for the main dining room. The system is called Table Agent and can be found on the Cedarfield app. If you are interested in using the system, instruction sheets are now available at the host station. But the point is well taken that if we're going to have dining relegated to 793,
Yes,
973, then we should say so.
you should. And that should not be the 7th-grade slide.
I agree. We'll note that for the next meeting to follow up, if that's okay, everybody. Environmental Committee, Andy's not here. I'll just quickly say, on April 21st, the residents trimmed back branches and cleared debris from Cedarfield's nature trails. This is an annual project to make walking the trails safer and more comfortable, and everybody should tour around this campus. It's beautiful in the spring, quite frankly. Facilities? And Ann Williams is doing this for Susan, who cannot be here today.
Thank you. Facilities met. Read your full minutes in the minutes when they come out from Residents Council. We were pleased to meet Lacey Salamone, who is our new Director of Facilities and Engineering. He started 3 weeks ago, and I think by the time he came to our meeting, he realized, if he hadn't before, he realized this is a big place with a lot of issues going on. The leak, as many of you know, in the atrium tunnel is not completely fixed. The contractor needs to return to complete that work. Replacement elevators are being put on the list for the capital budget. Being put on the list, though, I do not believe necessarily means it is in the capital budget, but it's on the list. People know we need them. Staffing and facilities. You just heard about dining. Staffing and facilities continues to be an issue. They are down 5 positions, and they go through the sort of thing where they have an interview scheduled and one person will show up and the next interview doesn't even bother to come or call. As of last week, they were behind 700 work orders, and most every day they have an overload of 100 work orders that goes over to the overflow list. For those residents with gas appliances, if you smell gas, get out. So leave your home, your apartment, whatever, get a good distance away, then call 911, let them know you have a gas leak, then notify either the concierge or security. If it's after hours, the concierge number will roll to security, and someone will take care of it. Communications between facilities and residents needs improvement. Lacey Salamoni is well aware of that, and that will be one issue that he will be working on, is trying to improve the communications between us and the facilities staff. And as I say, 3.5 pages worth of minutes. Be sure to read the full blow later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Carol? Finance.
The Finance Committee met on April 26. James Green presented the financial reports for the 9 months ending February 28, 2022. It showed that revenue was over budget due to occupancy rates being up. He called attention to the other revenue account. Cedarfield received a business interruption insurance payment for problems due to construction issues and a payment from HHS for COVID expenses in assisted living under the CARES Act. Also included in this category is income from new residents that are adding to their living quarters as they come in, additions. In operating expenses, there was an increase over budget for administrative expenses due to recruitment and continued COVID. Food cost and wage increases pushed dining over budget. As expected, household and housekeeping expenses for wages and equipment are also over budget. Cedarfield did show the positive results for the change in net assets for operations for the 9 months of $5.4 million. In the non-operating section, and you will receive a copy of Cedarfield's statement in the minutes, there were year-to-date interest payments on bonds of $3.8 million. There was investment income of $2.2 million. And then an item on there that does not affect cash but affects the bottom line, unrealized loss on investment of $3.3 million. So that gave the bottom line of your statement, which we call a change in net assets, of $1.8 million. To date, Cedarfield's expenditures for capital are $1.1 million, but they're budgeted to run up to $4 million. There's a huge amount that's going to hit this last quarter, and so they expect that the capital items, which are budgeted, will be around $4.4 million. The year-to-date bond payments came in at $2.4 million. And these items do come out of current income. So that's one thing that does not show up on this statement that we are provided. It shows up on Pinnacle's cash flow statement. So we take that information from there. James also told us, and you've already, Mike has said the same thing, they're going to be giving a budget presentation this Friday at 2 p.m. here in the Fellowship Hall, giving you the expected results for the year and the expected budget for next year. Very critical information. Residents may attend here, and it will be live streamed. I urge everyone to pay close attention, as we're all very interested in what we expect to be happening. We will give our next report as soon as we get the year-end information, which our year-end is May 31st, and it takes time for the auditors to come in and prepare their report. So we don't normally have it before August or September, but that will be our next report to this committee. Thank you.
Carol, this bond issue is coming up under our liabilities. Is that a Cedar Field bond or a Pinnacle bond?
I have in our statements that I give to our committee, I break it down, the 90%.
What he said.
Oh, so he wants to know if the bonds that are on the statement, Pinnacle statement as a liability, are ours or others. Almost all of it's ours. Almost all. Very little is someone else's. And I break that down for the committee. The reason it's ours is that the one other entity that has a lot of bonds like we do is Windsor Mead, but they are shown separately. It's not shown together. So, but the ones that are shown on the other groups, they're ours. You might as well assume that they're ours.
Are they ours?
Oh, yes.
That goes against Pinnacle Living statement, is that all monies come into Pinnacle Living, and it's in one pot, and so everybody splits the pot. That's the way.
Now,
That's the way it's supposed to be.
well, Pinnacle is responsible. I mean, just because we are all under Pinnacle.
Correct.
Pinnacle is the responsible entity. But the purpose, the reason we got those bonds was for our expansion. We benefited. None of the other entities benefited from it. We did. So we certainly have an obligation to pay for them.
Because according to the data and the papers that we signed when we come in here, we were told that all of the monies are there. You have your expenses, you pay your expenses, anything left over goes to Pinnacle, which is why they keep raising our rates higher than the others.
I'm not thinking we're talking on the same thing. Yes, we are part of a big group. So therefore, you are correct in saying that this one little section under a big group, money does flow to the big group, certainly, to everyone. But when these things were decided upon, when we decided to create this expansion, that was not, it was clear at that point, and I think the people that were in charge then understood that it was Cedar Field's obligation. Now, obviously, if Cedar Field had some difficulties, let's say COVID brought our occupancy rate way down and we just had a terrible year. If that were to happen, Pinnacle, because it is a big group, will come in and help. But I do think it was decided by the board and everything that that was Pinnacle's obligation to cover.
Which is why we cover all of the the other facilities which are which are in the red almost every year.
That's not true. That's really not true.
That's a false statement.
Yeah, a lot of people think we do. First of all, it's very difficult, unless you're an accountant, to read the statements and say, because everybody just looks at the last line. What's the bottom line? You have to look at it in far more detail. And different places have different assets. So you may say, well, this year, one of those entities has a low occupancy rate, and they're not doing very good this year. That could be true. But they have additional funds that will help them to survive through those bad times. Some don't all have that fund. It's varied. The one problem, and I will agree with this, we do not have a balance sheet from each entity. If we did, it would make it clearer that who has what assets. We do not have that. I cannot force that issue. We've asked for it, but that's not available to me.
So you're saying for the last 6 years that I've been here that we've been misinformed, that we've been picking up the tab for Williamsburg?
Williamsburg, that's Windsor Mead? No. We had a problem with Windsor Mead and the bond issues of guaranteeing, and they've finally worked it through. And there was a big danger, and there was a big fear. And I remember when I came here, I was very frightened and asked a bunch of questions about Windsor Meads being in bankruptcy. They have resolved that. They still have a hefty bond payment, but I do not think that Windsor Mead by any means is taking our resources. I do not think so. Yes.
I think I talked loud enough, so everybody here. What is the collateral for the bonds issued by Cedarfield?
It's property, land, and
All the bonds issued by Cedarfield, what is the collateral? The collateral is based on properties, monies at Cedarfield, not on other.
property. Yes, it's based on property.
Can any of the other communities use money that are raised from the Cedarfield bonds?
You know.
Legal.
Yeah, the bonds were raised for a specific purpose, and the bondholders issued the debt to us for a specific purpose, and that was for the renovation and upgrade of the Cedarfield campus. That's what the bonds were issued for. And you can't just go willy-nilly using the bondholders' money in a fashion that is different from what they understood when you gave them the money, or when they gave you the money. There are certain bond covenants that you agree to when you borrow: debt service coverage ratio, your days cash on hand, and some other ratios that are concerning liquidity and ability to pay debt. And the way it works is if you miss those the money's yours and they leave you alone. But when you start to miss those bond covenants, then they have the right then, after a certain period of time, to come in and make corrections to your operation to ensure that they get paid back. And so we're a long, that's why when James gives presentations, he focuses on the bond covenants, because he can demonstrate to you that Pinnacle far exceeds the bond covenants. So it's an important message to hear, that part of our financial health is reflected in the financial ratios and how high above the bondholder or the bond covenants they are. I think days cash is 250 something.
Yeah, 250 days.
Yeah, and the ratio and the bond covenant is 120 or 150.
Yeah.
The debt service ratio is 1.2. Ours is, I can't recall.
2.7.
2 point something. Yeah, so those kinds of things.
We're in good shape that way.
Thank you, Carol. Let's have the interjection. Now we have the Energizer Bunny Flower Committee, Louise Rucker. Let me say something.
What's that?
By the way, this microphone does not pick up. It only picks up for in here. So if we have a question, and you just need to repeat the question so that it can be heard.
I am the brief interlude of sweetness and light. We had a 3-week flower class, 3-session class in March, and 15 ladies completed that course. I was thrilled to see that. And 2 of them have joined the flower committee, Jan Moore and Carol Nyman. So pleased to have them working with us. We had a flower committee meeting on Monday, and the issue was we've had requests to supply fresh flowers each week in the health care and special care of the new building, and in health care and special care in the old building, and we already do assisted living. And we discussed what it would be and what it would take to do that, and the labor involved, and the locations, and the equipment, and so on. And the group said, we can do this. It'll take about 8 people working specifically to do that every week. And the good news is that a new flower room location has been identified, which will allow us to have water and storage and a place for our old one-door flower cooler, which means its business is on. So that's going to be located sharing the laundry room with the 3rd floor assisted living. It's a nice room, there'll still be room to turn around, and we're really looking forward to being able to do this. So it's a wonderful improvement, we think, for services here. To help support that, I hope you all would like to continue to say things with flowers. Our flower dedication program has been so much fun. People seem to enjoy it a lot. The honorees and the people who stop by to chat to. So if you have something important going on you want to share, help us do it. We'd be glad to take that on. Thank you.
Thanks, Louisa. Gardening, Sally is not here. I just will report that Ann Williams is in charge of Garden Day in May, and that will be May 5th with a rain date of May 12th. Louisa Rucker and Alice Spillman are the chair and co-chair of the Flower Committee, which is hosting a lovely tea in conjunction with the tour. The tea will be held in the clubhouse on the same day as the tour. Christine Watt, Nancy Hoffheimer, and Mary Giannoni will be hosting a special tour tea for the residents of assisted living. Health Services, Elvira.
The Health Services Committee met April 13th. We had introductions. Barbara Rose brought the following for discussion. Use of a whiteboard in each room of the households as a means of communicating with people who come in and work with those residents. The developing an orientation packet so that we will all know what to expect when we go over to those households. They'll use an e-messenger phone, and they're going to recommend people bring their pendants so that if they need some help immediately, that pendant will go off if they can punch it, and it's quicker than pushing the button that would be at the bed. And they still need 3 to 11 nurses. Michael has recommended that we have bi-monthly meetings, and I have those down at this point in time. And Ms. Ross, our Director of Nurses, has taken on looking at how we can dispose of extra medications we might have in our homes so that we don't get them mixed, they don't go into the water system, and it's safe for all of us. Thank you.
This is the library report, and on March the 24th, the new furniture came into the library. Unfortunately, we didn't find it acceptable for many reasons, and we had a meeting with both Paul and with Florence to discuss our problems. And they graciously agreed to remove the new furniture from the library, but only for now. Because when the new furniture comes into the entranceway and the hallway, etc., then the library furniture that we did not like will come back to us. Apparently, there's a feeling that when there's a lot of the furniture that looks the same way, that maybe it will look better. So, otherwise, we're moving on. We did buy an expensive magazine rack, so our coffers are a little down with the Friends of the Library, but it's going to be a beautiful addition. It matches the wood in the library, and people seemingly are enjoying having the magazines back, and we needed a better house for them. And this is to remind everybody that we take 2 months back, the current month and the month previous of magazines. And we don't have the money to buy any magazines, so this is totally up to us to supply it. Then we do have a new book donation policy. Yesterday at a very successful fair, I think we passed out 150 copies of the new policy, but if you didn't get one, you can look at on the cork board that's in the library, and I can always give you a copy, just ask. We did supply the sales department with a copy of this because people, when they're moving, are especially interested in donating books. This is a big deal for us. It saves us a lot of money, but we can't accept old books, things that really wouldn't be suitable for us. And this way, this policy will cut down on our use of time and also the use of time of the giver. Familiarize yourself with the new organization of the library. You probably noticed there's been a lot of dust thrown and settled, and a lot of books here and there, and labels being redone. But right now, the biggest change is to the wall that's on the same side as the closet. That would be the right-hand side of the library. And that is dealing with biographies and the classics and the miscellaneous amount of things, reference books, dementia books, medical books. We decided to put everything in alphabetical order, and just by chance, biographies come first, which are the most read of those books on that wall. Obviously, fiction is our most popular source of reading. But do familiarize yourself with this. And when you go to our computer in order to find out if we have a book in the library, that is great. That helps you navigate the library. Please do not turn off the computer. There are signs all over the place saying, don't touch that button. And it's important not to, because there are only a handful of people who know how to turn it back on. And it took me an hour to find out how one does that. So it really does cause a problem for our patrons and for our volunteers. Also, do peruse the local and resident author shelf. This is one of my goals, is to expand on that shelf and make it easier as a tool for all of us to read the contributions by residents of our community, let alone local authors. And I'm hoping that more people learn about this and will contribute their books to those shelves. Then lastly, we have a balcony library, and it is not an attic. It is a very important part of our library, and it's well tended. If you're into military history, you better get yourself up there in a hurry, but it has lovely things like landscape and nature books, sort of a hodgepodge of things that are not in bulk and therefore don't justify the use of the bottom of the main library floor. And so, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sally. No report from religious life. Safety, do you have a report, Buzz? Okay, you're up. Yep.
there's not a formal safety committee report, but just a review of several things. One is we're on daylight savings time, and that means that everybody needs to go and check their emergency lights in their that you have in the cottages. Be sure that they're working. Change the batteries in your flashlights, which you should have as well. But other safety things. Number one, stop signs are not optional. Okay, I repeat that. Stop signs are not optional, especially out here in front of the big house. I would say that 60 or 70% of people who come through there do not stop. Second thing is speeding. Slow down. If you're coming on Cedarfield Lane, it's not a racetrack to see how quickly you can get from one bump to the next. Okay? And third, for the walkers, please remember to walk facing traffic. And if you're walking at dusk or dawn, wear something bright or light that can be seen. Fourth is if there are any safety concerns that you see while you're going around the campus, please contact me or one of the other members of the committee.
Thank you, Buzz. Next report is welcoming. Nellie?
In March, the Welcome Committee welcomed Ben Jones to 2139 Cedarfield Lane. Ben moved to Cedarfield from Midlothian. In April, Glenn and Trish Heaton were welcomed to 10,027 Cedarfield Court. They moved to Cedarfield from Doswell. Last fall, we hosted a dinner for some of the ladies who had lost their husbands during COVID. During that period, they could not have their family and friends with them, as most of us did at that time. So they found this gathering to be very meaningful and requested another get-together. So the welcoming committee did so on April the 9th. Thank you.
Thanks, Nellie. Barbara, Wellness and Leisure.
This will be short and sweet here. First of all, I'll talk about yesterday, although it's more staff and a million other residents who made the showcase a wonderful, successful event, so that 100 plus up to 150 people that went through. I think we should all applaud the staff that spent hours as well as some of the residents. So. And then most of, you can read the minutes, but I would highlight the May 3rd volunteer interest meeting and the Randolph-Macon May 7th baseball game and the Kentucky Derby, which is also May 7th, but it's at 6 o'clock in the evening starting, although the race time is like 3 minutes before 7. And the important thing is the staff now does planning 6 months in advance. So they're meeting June 6th. So if you have any ideas or any comments about programs, creative arts, or fitness, you can contact me or any member of the activities committee and also staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Ann Hopper came in to tell me to make this announcement. There will be a booster clinic on Tuesday, May 3rd here at Cedarfield. There'll be a booster clinic, and if you need information, you need to call 474-8846. That's all I know right now, but that's what she asked me to tell everybody. So if we go to area reports, Area 1, is somebody here from Area 1? No? Andy Carter's is not here. He says, now that we know our neighbors look alike, let's unmask the team members. I'm sure that'll not change anytime quite yet. Robbie, you want me to just say what you got here? Yeah. Area 4 is planning a barbecue dinner get-together on May 25th at the clubhouse. Area 5.
No report.
6 no report, 7 no report, 8 no report. Area 9, Larry?
Submitted. Report was submitted.
Okay. Area 11. They have a report, but they're not here to submit it. Area 12. Irene? And by the way, Irene, thank you for all you're doing and you ladies are doing on the recycling.
Area 12's report. We are sorry that Charlotte McCutcheon passed away. She was a member of our Area 12 family and a Cedarfield pioneer. We welcome Judy Hanold to our Area 12 family. Judy has moved to apartment 312. She was in a Cedarfield cottage prior to that. Paul Gregg met with Area 12 on April 14th at 10 a.m. in the Atrium Cafe. It was a time of introductions, comments, and questions. We were particularly interested in Paul's overview of Cedarfield's future. Several residents have expressed an interest in changing the current name tags to more attractive magnetic name tags. Thank you.
Area 13. You coming, Sonny?
She submitted it.
Okay, very good. 14, 15, 16, Mary Rose?
Just quickly, mine was pre-submitted, but we do have two new residents, Barbara and John Rose, who moved from the cottage, and we welcome them. And we have a breakfast plan for May 10th.
I'll say. She indicated that they have two new residents, Barbara and John Rose, and they welcomed them, and have a breakfast and coffee planned for May 10th. Paul Gregg will be the guest. Do you know that you're the guest? Area 17, no report. Area 18, Beth? Okay, come forward, thank you.
Area 18 is second floor D wing. We're kind of a small area, but we have two empty apartments. One of them is a model, and one of them is 282, which has never been leased. Room 200 is also near our area, and engineering and maintenance has moved out. And Bob Angeletti, who is the renovation supervisor, has moved in. We had a dinner together with just the people from our floor last month, and last week, D-Wing, total D-Wing, got together for a wonderful picnic at the clubhouse. And thank you to everybody on the fourth floor who helped make that possible.
Area 19 has a report, but I'll just read a couple of sentences. We hosted a meeting with representatives of Affirmation Health on Thursday, April 21st, in the Cedarfield Club Room. All who attended were pleased and grateful for the presentation services given by Affirmation. Area 20, Cynthia?
Okay, I wanted to let you all know that this past Friday evening, the entire D-Wing met at the Cedar Fields Clubhouse for an evening of meet and greet, and then we had a delicious dinner that was prepared and served by our dining services. David Stewart, our dining services director, was very pleased that we had such a large attendance. Out of the 43 residents in the D Wing, there were 36 who signed up for this, attending this event. And as I said, or maybe I didn't say, Fourth Floor hosted this. Since most of the residents in the D Wing had moved in after COVID, we were not aware of the services of being able to have dining serve a meal for us, and that was a real delight, because in the fall last year we had talked with grocery stores and had gotten a store that would work with us, and if we had $150 worth of order, then they would deliver the goods to us, and so that was very nice. But David was thrilled to say that he would like to have more response of people coming down and them serving, and it was just perfectly wonderful, because they came, they set it all up, and then they served us, and they disappeared and came back to clean up. So that was good, and we had transportation provided also. At this little meet and greet, we introduced our area representatives from each of the floors, and we thanked those who assisted in the planning and the preparation. But we had two who just stood head and shoulders above everyone else. They were especially helpful in planning, preparation, and just kind of go, go, go. So anyway, they were John Farris and Tony Puccinelli, and they worked very hard to coordinate all of the arrangements. And at the end, we were just unable to determine John and Tony's worth for all that they did for this big event. And you know that the minimum wage now is like $15 an hour, and we were trying to kind of calculate. So guess what we did? We rewarded each of them 100 grand candy bar. Ooh, that was luck. I just happened to see that in passing by shopping. Everyone enjoyed the evening. And then I would like to say to you that prayers and cards, please, for Sharon Pepple, who is very, very ill. So just keep her in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. I don't think we have a report from 21. Any questions about anything so far today that we haven't answered? Dolly? Okay.
You just mentioned the fact that we were having booster shots on Tuesday. We all got something in our mailbox that told us the time and place. And my question is, will we have transportation to the clubhouse?
That I don't know. We would have to ask Ann Hopper, I would assume.
I have never experienced a COVID vaccination clinic here, but I was told that there are multiple locations around the big house where the vaccines are distributed.
No, I don't think there are multiple locations.
They're not. It's just the clubhouse?
It's been in different places before.
It's in different places this time. It's on the back.
Oh, it is?
It's on the back of the sheet as to the locations that you can go.
Okay.
I guess the cottages go to the clubhouse. Will there be transportation? I don't know. We'll have to find out. Oh, I can have it back. You can take it home. It's a consolation prize.
Yeah, I was just told to do a reminder about the 3rd. I don't know the details, I gotta be honest. Any other questions? Any old business? I can report, Larry, that we got the skid moved. It took a act of Congress, but it finally got moved out of the courtyard.
It is not moved out.
It's off the grass.
Yes, but it's still in the courtyard, right against apartment 206.
Okay.
Along with black plastic and 2x4s.
Yeah, they're coming back supposedly to do more work.
Out front, it would be gone by now.
Yeah, you're right. I'll stay on that one.
Nancy, she can answer the question.
You want to answer the question about the locations?
What's that?
There was another question prior to that in regard to quarantining and all.
Oh, is this about the memo that came out
Yes.
this morning?
Yeah.
So I thought that had to do with Northern Virginia. I haven't even had a chance to talk to Paul.
The question was, if a person is exposed to COVID, what are we expected to do? And I said, if you feel like you've been exposed to COVID or have symptoms of COVID, you should come see Ann in the clinic, and she can give you further direction. Was that the correct answer?
Yeah, that's good. But I will clarify a memo that came out from Chris Henderson.
Yes, because it said you should quarantine.
Right. And we haven't been quarantining since last winter when we would have the contact tracing if someone had been around a positive case. So right now what we're doing is if you've been notified that you've been around someone that tested positive, we're saying you should wear a mask and be aware of symptoms. You get tested in 5 days and then again in 10. And if you have symptoms, then you come sooner for a test. And then what was the other question? Oh, about the locations. We do have separate locations for the boosters. For this booster on Tuesday, we have the cottages and the clubhouse. We haven't had a large number of people sign up because a lot of people have already gotten the booster. So we'll probably send out another memo consolidating all the places.
Will you have both Pfizer and Moderna?
No, the question is, are we going to have Pfizer and Moderna? We're just going to have Pfizer. And from what we've been told, you can cross over. You can go from if you've gotten Moderna, you can get Pfizer. If you had Pfizer originally, you can get Moderna. So.
Will there be transportation to the clubhouse or the cottage?
We did that in the past, so I will check with Will to arrange that. That's a good question. Anything else? All right, thanks.
Thank you. Any other business? Any other business? Do I have a movement to adjourn? We're a little past an hour today. Second. All in favor? Thank you all. Have a great week.